All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories, and for all you folks down there in the USA, happy Thanksgiving. I
Happy
realize
Thanksgiving.
it is your turkey night tonight. We had ours in October because ours is actually based on a completely different thing, but yes, it is Thanksgiving down there, so hope you all don't get turkey coma, which apparently Mikey is doing tonight, which is why he's not with us tonight. So he's doing his Thanksgiving thing. He may or may not show up for the after party. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. If he's still able to move after stuffing his face full of all the usual treats that people have on Thanksgiving. So, anyway, Sleek man, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, we didn't really have anyone scheduled for tonight, and I wasn't like rushing to find anyone because I know it was Thanksgiving. So I thought, we'll see if anybody grabs at it, and you did, man. You were like,
yeah, I just have the two parents, so we just got back from the buffet, and I was like, I saw you post that, and I was like, I know I'm not going to be doing anything because I don't have anybody that I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving with. We said Thanksgiving this morning, and that was Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? And it was like that. Go out to have dinner, and there was not anything else happening today, so. I was like, yeah, why not? I'll jump in. I'm more than happy to.
That's great, man.
We've been following each other. Guys.
We've been following each other, I think, on Twitter for quite some time. So
quite a while.
I'm glad you. Stepped up to the plate and jumped in here with me tonight.
Stream's coming soon. Stream's coming soon. That's on the link I gave you. I'll be streaming.
Oh, for your YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah, I'll be streaming and doing videos soon. I've been spent this entire time I've known you, I've been spending just building my studio. And I think I'm close. I think I'm good enough to start now.
All right.
And some people would have said I was good enough a long time ago, and yeah, they're probably right.
Well, I was going to procrastinate, but I'll do that tomorrow.
Right, exactly. I wanted to start making videos, but I didn't want to start doing that until I finished making the studio. Then I started making the studio. Then I realized the studio's never going to be finished.
Sounds like the one that Randolph and I were building.
Yeah, it's and by never going to be finished, I mean it's one of those labors of love where you're always going to be like, actually, I saw something on Amazon yesterday that I could add to the space. Like there's always going to be that one little piece of something. Like, sure. I think I have more than enough equipment, but there's always just this little thing that I see somewhere on some YouTube video or something that some influencer's trying to shill to me. And I'm like, oh, I totally need that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into the story here. We chat with folks about how they found their way free from their religious jail cells, we'll say, and kind of like take us back into those days where you're sort of part of something, and sort of as the ball rolled, you just realized that it wasn't for you.
I think mine is pretty standard, probably. I don't know. It seems like most of the people
is a standard.
But that's true. I was just going to say something to that effect as well. But I know a lot of people have like really, really negative leaving the church stories. My leaving the church, like actual Christianity story, was not that difficult. Like around, I'd say 13, 14, I started asking questions that some of the people in the congregation weren't quite qualified to answer yet. Maybe they hadn't had enough seminary or whatever, but I just had a lot of questions like, wait a second. So we got here and started America in, whatever I thought it was when I was 12 or whatever. I was like, and before then there wasn't any missions. So what happened to all of the Native Americans that didn't have a chance to know about Jesus because of the whole no mission thing? Did they just go to heck? Or I mean, what can we say on here? Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. Were they damned forever?
Right.
And people were like, well, what? And I was like, well, they didn't get to know Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus, you can't accept him as your savior. If you can't accept him as your savior, you can't go to heaven. Therefore, none of those people could have gotten to go to heaven by your book. Anybody that that was a Native American that didn't get converted to Christianity, by fact, must have gone to hell.
Yeah,
they
or
had
anyone
to.
else around the world where they weren't in that religion.
Right. Any culture. But that was the culture I was concerned about because I was just coming out of fourth grade where we had done building missions out of sugar cubes and popsicle sticks, where you built a model of an old Spanish mission. Because I'm from California, that was a big part of our state history, you know, and and so that was like, that's where my personal, at that time as a kid, that's where my concern was coming from, because, you know, I had just been studying these people and learning about their culture. And I'm like, and you're telling me this guy who loves everybody is just going to send a significant number of people, let's be real, you know, a very, like a large swath of people, you know, not a small amount by any means, just directly to HE double hockey sticks, just gone, you're gone, bye. And that,
you can say hell.
yeah, you know, and sorry. And so, you know, yeah, I was just like, that doesn't jive with what I know about what you've told me my whole life up until now about God. This doesn't seem right. And then you know, so about probably high school, I just was like, I don't think I'm going to go to church anymore. My parents were like, nah, that tracks. That seems right. You know, they were like, that's fine. You know, you don't, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But then I fell into, and I think this is a worse problem when you get out of Christianity, is falling into the next new thing.
Okay. All right.
Because I didn't go, oh, Christianity's false. Well, then ipso facto, everything else is false also. No, I had to, you know, F around and find out, as they say. You know what I mean? Like, I had to be like, oh, well, then, okay, so maybe Jesus God isn't real, but what about Muslim God? I didn't go that far into that, but you know what I mean? Like, I started looking at, oh, what's the Baha'i faith about? What is Buddhism? You know, what are all these different, what is Wicca? You know, and started, yeah, and then started falling into all of that. And I think that's even more dangerous because it's less structured. So somebody come along and tell you like, oh yeah, this is totally Wicca. And you're like, really, killing chickens is Wicca? And they're like, yeah, 100%. And then you're like, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not, dude. You know, it depends. Which author's book are you reading? Are you reading, you know, this guy or Silver Ravenwolf or Scott Cunningham? Who are you reading? You know, you're going to get different answers based on which author you're reading. And for the record, none of them recommended anything to do with animal sacrifice. But I'm just saying, like, theoretically, without any kind of central doctrine, you know, some certain sect of Wicca could be into any number of things and you wouldn't know.
Yeah, Wicca was quite widely branched, I would say. It borrowed from a lot of different cultures and stuff like that. I found that Wiccans that I met globally, at the time anyways, had different things that they would do, I guess, based on their original cultures and stuff like that. Like, you had Wiccans that had Norse culture-y type stuff in there. You had Wiccans that had Celt culture-y type stuff in there. You had Wiccans that were just straight from the US and they did all the whatever things they do there. Like, I was involved with Wicca for quite a long time. I dated a girl that kind of got me into it. And
that's usually how it goes, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it happened to me. That's all I can say. You know.
Yeah.
I was looking around for something to fill a void that I had just recently, you know, freed up in my life from not having to be religious anymore. And now I started hearing that, you know, I think you're about the same age as me. So it was that right around that, I don't know, like 98, 99 area where everyone started becoming spiritual.
Yes.
None of us went to church, but we were all spiritual.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, I'm not religious. I don't go to church, but I'm spiritual. I got these beads on my wrist and I have a singing bowl, you know, like, and I burn incense now because I'm spiritual.
I still burn incense. I don't think you need to
I still burn incense. It smells great, but for different reasons.
What's your incense of choice?
I like Nog Champa or Super Hit. Yeah, probably my favorites.
That and anything with patchouli in it.
Patchouli's pretty bomb.
I
Yeah.
used to take the oil and put a little dab, and everyone
Oh yeah.
where I used to work used to call me Woody because it's got a woody kind of smell to it. And I go, well, I guess, but
The thing is it can be overdone.
yeah, it can.
It's easily. I'll even say easily. It can easily be overdone. It's not very hard to go too far on the patchouli.
Yeah, yeah. And some people never understood that, and then you can smell them coming a mile away.
Well, those are the same people that use patchouli in place of soap. Like they don't wash themselves off and then apply the patchouli. They just put the patchouli over the au natural musk, and they don't mingle. They don't go together well. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
Terrible.
BO and patchouli. Yay.
Being autistic, I'm like really big on my showers and being clean. So all my hippie friends would be like muddy and and I'd be like, ooh. I'm like, hey, you're not one of us. I was like, I like hacky sack and pot, but not so much the rest of it. Like
that was my 90s. You just summed up my 90s in one sentence. Hacky sack
and pot. Yeah, pretty much is it for most of us that are in our mid 40s, right? Like that was the thing to do at the time. Now. The internet didn't really exist that much yet. We were still in high school. We had internet pot in the coffee shop. I wish those days were still with us. Yeah, I don't know how the young people go out and meet each other nowadays without any kind of like social hub like that. It's weird to me.
Well, it's still I'm sure there's still people that go out and meet each other.
There probably is. I'm just old. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now they got online dating. Well, they even had online dating, I think, or shit. They had those what were they called? They had some sort. You could call up and talk to people. I can't remember what the hell they called those, but
the chat lines.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah,
they used to have that when I was a kid. But I mean, like when I was a kid, if like we had pagers, some of us would have a pager. Hardly any of us had cell phones still in the late 90s, early 2000s.
They were the size of your car back then, though. So,
well, that was the 80s. In the late 90s, they were like those ones. They were like that big around with the long antenna sticking out of the top. They were the big brick.
Yeah.
But still, like you say, they were huge, and who wanted to carry that around? And so, like, if you wanted to know, like, if you were at school all day and you're like, oh, I wonder what's going on this Friday night, you went to the coffee shop because everyone was going to go to the coffee shop, and then they would be like, oh, hey, party at my house tonight. Now you go on Facebook and you're like, I don't know what's going on tonight. I don't want to deal with this. I wish somebody would just tell me where everybody's going and then I could just show up,
Yeah. I think my partying days are in the past anyways, so.
Mine too, because I'm very well aware that all of my friends are married with children now, and I'm the only one that still has any like semblance of like partying left in them. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I'm single and no kids, so I'm like theoretically if given the notice, I could party, at the drop of a hat. Problem being, all of my friends are like, oh, can't. Kids are in bed. We've got a PTA meeting tomorrow, and you're like, right, like, so I don't party. None of my friends party. I could. I mean, I have the liberty to, but it's just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I'm getting old. I think you could probably understand that too. It's like you get to a certain age, and you're like, yeah, it would be fun if I did that tonight. But now I'm of an age where I know how I'm going to feel after I do that when it comes to like tomorrow and the next day. And it's like, I start going, do I really want to go through all the oatmeal and, getting myself like not hungover and, everything else after going out for a night of drinking? Or do I just want to stay here and catch a movie? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I think
I still blaze, so that's all right.
I blaze. I'm blazing right now. I was.
Look at that contraption. There we go. Woohoo! I wish I could do that, but I can't smoke inside. Unfortunately.
I'm
So I
in
have
my
to go
smoking
outside.
room. This isn't technically inside, so
Okay.
it doesn't count.
See the big cloud of smoke there. No, I'm jealous, man.
Oh
All
man,
right.
well, you have to come over sometime. I'll smoke you out
Smoke
all the
me
way to
out? I
California
don't
from
know if
Canada. I mean, I'll make it worth your while.
dude, I can
I'll
drive
go-
down there in like 20 hours. It's no problem.
Oh, are you on the west side? That's good then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's.
in Vancouver.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, well then you don't need that. Why are you jealous of me? You guys have all the best weed in the world over there anyway.
Not gonna lie, it's true. And I've got some, don't worry. I'm prepped and ready. I just gotta fucking
You
roll it
guys have
up.
had your reputation. You've been holding on to the Vancouver, British Columbia buds. Those BC buds have had a rep for a long time, from what I remember.
Yeah, well, since
But
probably the
something
late
happened,
90s.
and they stopped being one of the top places. Unless I missed the memo.
Every once in a while, we still win that cannabis cup, but it's usually
There's a
won
lot
out
more
by
competition
Australia.
now.
Yeah, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, they're all up there too. So,
Well, you also just have to consider how many California grows, since it's become legal,
yeah,
have started participating in all of those competitions, because grows just in general used to be fewer and further between in any state, even the legal ones. And now it's like you can't swing a stick around like my town without finding a house that's got to grow.
yeah, we have them here too.
And it's legal. You can have up to 6 plants, so they have no qualms about putting a grow in any suburban home that they can rent. Like there's grows every other house or so on my block, and I'm not mad at it. You know what I mean? Like,
Nope.
Me and my neighbor are cool with each other. He gives me nice little what do you call it, care packages once in a while. It's all good, you know.
Care packages, I like it.
Yeah.
Attitude adjustment packages.
Yeah, attitude adjustment packages. Well, he doesn't ever have to attitude or he doesn't ever have to adjust my attitude. I'm always happy to see him.
Nice.
Hey, I got something for you. Hey, I'm happy to see you, bud. All right.
Like you, neighbor.
I like you, neighbor. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, but yeah, so when I left Christianity, it was easy. It was when I got into started questioning Christianity, and then started looking into other things like, oh, well, Christianity is wrong. Well, one of these must be right. Right. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know why. I think a lot of people have that assumption, getting back to the deconversion thing. That, oh, well, just because this one religion that I decided isn't right is wrong. And even me, like, I went, okay, Christianity is wrong. Well, then therefore all religions that are related to the Bible are also probably wrong. Like,
So the Abrahamic ones.
right. With the exception maybe of Judaism, because it was Old Testament and all the Jesus, all the Bible stuff. But like when I ruled out, Protestantism, I ruled out Catholicism, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, all of those as well, because from where I sat, they were all under the same umbrella. They were all under specifically the Bible, if you will, umbrella. You know what I mean?
Well,
whereas Judaism doesn't have the Bible, they just have, the Torah and the Kabbalah and that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism, basically, is what that's.
Right, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have. So I was like, well, Judaism, they're older. They might know at that point. They might know something. Maybe they know more than the Jesus people. That's where I was. And because, like I said, I had decided that the thing that I had known, which was the only thing I knew about religion, I didn't understand anything about other religions. Leaving the faith, being going from Sunday school all the way through to like I say, 14, 15. I didn't ever study other faiths. You know what I mean? They they were probably demonic. Their god had an elephant head and stuff like that, so,
Ganesh.
Right. Yeah. And exactly. And so I was like, probably don't want to get into that, and then I started looking at
elephants.
Huh?
Unless you like elephants.
Unless you like elephants, right? And then, once I learned about Hinduism, it was really interesting because then I really realized why you wouldn't want to convert to Hinduism, because it's a like a ancestral thing. So, like, if your family's been worshiping the god Ganesha for their entire lineage, going back to your great whatever grandfather, then you've built up like some Ganesha goodwill, basically. and Ganesha is going to look a little more favorably on your family than he would on me, guy who just joined. That's how it was explained to me, at the very least, right? And so it's like, so if you start Hinduism, you're at like the bottom rung. You're at like, the shit tier Hindu. And then there's all these other Hindus who've been practicing for generations, and they're rungs above you. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, let me join that one right away. Same thing like with the Jehovah's Witnesses. It's like, oh, only 144,000 are getting into heaven. And how many of you are there?
Yeah, I know.
More than that. So, you're not getting in, right? Like, you're not, what? Like, if you already know you're not getting into heaven, what's the use of following the rules? The reward is not, you're not going to get the reward. You already know that.
You'd think it would have been the first 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses that there were.
Right. Something like that. Yeah.
So any of them today,
or with a voucher or something, right?
A coupon.
Yeah. You got to have a coupon. You got to get it stamped 10 times. I don't know, but like, it just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of these religions, they like, I don't know how you like. I know it's special pleading or whatever. It's like, well, I might be one of the 144,000. You don't know yet. Just pump your brakes. We haven't gotten there yet. We'll see who's one of the 144,000 when they start calling out names. Okay. It's like being at the raffle, having like 0 tickets and still thinking you're going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you don't know. It's like, I do know. You didn't buy any tickets.
Just so you know, you were mentioning Judaism. That's what I was raised in. So,
which one?
Judaism.
Oh, you were Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. That's cool. Yeah, that's probably one of the ones I know like the least about, other than that they like to argue, and that earns my respect. So,
well, the Bible that you're familiar with, Christianity, uses some of the Old Testament, right? They get Genesis.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Stuff, right. So they just take it a step further and add all the new stuff to it, right? So.
Yeah, we're all good with the Jews until they killed Jesus. You know what I mean? Like we're right there, right up until that one thing, and it's like.
It wasn't the Jews either. I mean, they were a part of the committee, I guess, that ruled against Jesus being who he was,
right.
But it was the Romans who actually did it, that killed him. So,
right. But but ask a Christian.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I agree. Pontius Pilate is ultimately the one who did it, but ask a Christian, and they'll tell you that most Christians that I know of, at least, will tell you that the Jews did it, which I think is I find kind of funny in an ironic type of twisted, fucked up way.
Yeah, Jews get blamed for everything, pretty much.
Even to this day, even right now. I'm not going to go into it. It's a hot button issue, but yeah, even right now, it's still happening. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's horrifying, but and I hope things over there come to some sort of a conclusion at some point where the amount of people are hurt by it, for sure.
I don't want to go into.
I have friends on both sides.
Who's right or who's wrong? I honestly don't think anyone is right in this situation. I just think it needs to stop.
Yep. Yeah, no,
You got the
tons of
best
mice.
way I can put my opinion on the subject.
Tons of mice. The Jews did not invent the McRib. It's pork, buddy.
Yeah, no, they did not.
Whoever did invent the McRib needs to be hit. That's all I can say.
Although if they did, I would like them that much more.
What? If they invented the McRib?
Yeah, if the Jews invented the McRib, I would like them that much more.
I've tried that thing. It's horrifying. I couldn't.
It is. You have to be raised on it.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I had one after having not had one for a long time, and like I'm with you. After having detoxed from McDonald's for a while, I went back and ate one. And I was like, "What? Why did I used to like this? Did they change something, or did I just become an adult and start liking food that isn't garbage? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, occasionally I'll like a Big Mac, but I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Oh, I still eat some garbage food, but I definitely have noticed that sometimes I go back to some of my once upon a time mainstays, and I'm like, oh, I used to love one of these, and I'm like, this is not as good as it. This isn't.
As I remember,
did I change or did the burger change? You know what I mean? Like,
your palate probably changed.
It's probably my palate, I would think. Yeah, that's my guess.
You remember McPizza?
Yeah. Did you know the funniest thing about that is that they paid a bunch of money to retrofit all those restaurants to serve McPizzas, and they forgot to enlarge the drive-through window, so they had no way to get the pizza out the window.
What?
Yeah.
But they were just tiny little things, though.
No, they had a full-size pizza.
Oh boy, so I had to go.
I was watching. I think it was Future Proof. Yeah, maybe. But it was the failed McDonald's pizza. They were going to have like a large pizza, and one of the things that they didn't do when they went through and added all the stuff they needed to serve pizza, and they totally gapped out on making the window big. The difference between the delivery window and the size of the pizza box, they didn't calculate that into their equation. And so when they went.
Explains why when I went through and ordered one on a drive-through, they had the person come out of the building and hand it to you when you just pull forward and they'll come out with it. So
that's why, because it wouldn't fit through the window. So that was their workaround. That's the only thing they could do.
I guess
they ended up discontinuing it because of the added cost of the windows, adding all the windows to be able to keep it.
Well,
it would have been it was a huge cost issue.
Up here, it lasted a while. So
I think there are a few franchises where it was like popular enough and whatnot that they still have them.
Really?
But as they were planning on this being like nationwide, a full-on rollout thing. You know what I mean? Like they were going to have this coast to coast. It was going to be everywhere. And then they realized what they had gotten themselves into, and they're like, oh, maybe not. And then I think it was like there were a few places and I do want to say it was Canada, and it was like Canada, and there was like one other place I remember the guy mentioning that still had it because it was like actually popular at that location. So they were like, hey, we actually don't want to get rid of this. Our customers really like it. Like we want to keep it. And so those locations only still had it.
Hello, Maya. The location that I used to live near to had it up until I think almost 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. Then they stopped.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So, but it was pretty popular there. The kids really liked it, the young kids, and they that's what I mean. They'd get the small ones, the little individual size ones.
Right. The personal,
literally like a fucking boboli with some tomato sauce on it, some pepperoni and cheese, and that was pretty much. I mean, anyone can make that if you want.
But kids will eat anything. Like kids don't care. You just put calories in front of them, and they're like, "Oh, more."
Some kids are pretty picky. Like I don't think I can get
you have to disguise it as something that they would want to eat. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, like they don't have refined palates when it comes to like good food. Like I've seen them eat some pretty random stuff that I'm just like, and they're like, it's pizza. And I'm like, okay, yeah, dude, do you. I would never, but like, good, go for it, enjoy. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, not like that they'll eat anything you put in front of them, but if it looks like chicken nuggets, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that they're going to wolf them down and never ask you if they're really chicken or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or chicken fingers. Yeah. Kids like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Give me a second. I got to get tea bag real quick.
Okay.
Like literally 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. We can see you in the mirror.
Yeah, so I think because that's what led me down through. That's where I got to meet all the craziest people, was after I left Christianity. Like, Christianity was just like Bible study and singing in the choir for me. You know, like, my church wasn't wasn't wild. Like, they weren't shaking around rattlesnakes or doing anything particularly like outlandish or anything like that. Huh?
No speaking in tongues or anything, or
no speaking in tongues. As a matter of fact, I had a friend in school that took me to the speaking in tongues church, and that scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me. You don't run. Okay, look, I was brought up in my church. We sang songs like, at the first church I went to, because I went to multiple non-denominational churches growing up, right? And starting out, I went to like, they called it a Southern Baptist, and they sang like Rock of Ages and freaking Swing Low Chariot. Huh?
The Def Leppard version or the other one?
No, like grand piano.
Oh, okay.
No, like Rock of Ages, cleft for me.
Right.
That one. The old-timey hymns from centuries ago. I don't know when they were written, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, and we were always taught, like, that's God's house, right? Like, you go to church, that's God's house. God lives there. That's where God is. You go there to hang out with God and learn about God and all that kind of stuff. So me, like, in all the houses I was brought up in, like, you don't run in the house. You don't jump and flail around and scream and shout and flop on the ground when you're a visitor, a guest in somebody else's house. Like, what in the heck is going on in this church? These people are lunatics. And they're like, no, we're just so joyful for the Lord that we're filled with joy in his house. And I'm like, well, if you were in my grandma's house, she'd tell you to knock it off and keep it down.
Right.
Be a little respectful when you're in her house. That's what my grandma would say. You know what I mean? So where I was coming from, you know, so I thought that was weird. And that was like right around the time I was getting out. I was telling my friend, I don't think I'm going to go to this church anymore. And he's like, oh, come to my church, you know, that kind of thing. Right. No. So I didn't go to that church. And, you know, I like I say, none of my churches were all that weird. It was just, like I said, had a lot of questions about, like, which people are going to hell and why, and what if they didn't do nothing wrong? And it's like, well, everybody's sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, you know? And so it's like, there was like, you know, a whole lot of like I say, special pleading going on, and couldn't really get a straight answer.
Right. Sticks with us since Adam and Eve for some fucking reason.
Yeah. And isn't that weird? Okay. God comes along day one, you know, does all this stuff, gets to the day where he makes humans. I forget which one, right? Makes Adam, right? Makes him no problem. Just scoops up a handful of dust, breathes on it, boom, Adam, right? That's the story. Yeah. Gets to Eve. Why is Eve complicated? He already made a human, easy as pie. And through him, all things are supposed to be possible. But this time he needs a rib. This time. The first time needed nothing. Just dust and a little bit of blowing. It's weird. Their whole story doesn't add up. Why does he come back after they eat the fruit and ask them where they're at and why they're hiding? Shouldn't he know that already? I had a lot of questions. And I wasn't getting a lot of.
You got to remember, though, the whole omniscience, omnipotent, omnipresent stuff was added after. If you go through the Bible, you'll find that he wasn't omnipotent, he wasn't omniscient, and he wasn't omnipresent.
Well, right, and you'll find out that the snake wasn't Satan.
Right.
Despite the fact that many of your Bible school teachers and or possibly even pastors themselves would lead you to believe that was the case,
Also, apparently the word rib was a misinterpretation. They actually believed that it was supposed to be that Eve was made from half of Adam. So, like, they were supposedly to be equals. And I guess the men at the time, the patriarchs, didn't like that. So they had to somehow come up with a way to make her less than a man. And,
which is ridiculous because if anything, I would say that women are ridiculous. Like more than men. They make people like they're the only people on earth who can make more people. You know what I mean? Like that makes you pretty fucking special in my book.
Let's take two. They need.
I'm not saying that's your only job that you have, but I'm saying that the fact that you have that ability is pretty damn special.
Yeah. To be able to procreate or to be able to create life inside your body, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I would say they are definitely equal, if not more so.
Oh yeah, I would agree for sure. Well, by the way, folks, this is an old frame that I've got here that I've been kicking around that I use for two people. So please ignore the Tuesday one on there because we don't do the Tuesdays anymore. So.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
No, we don't do the Tuesdays anymore.
This is an advent calendar of loose leaf teas. So I'm going to be drinking that on my channel. We're doing a tea channel. Get it?
Oh,
tea channel.
I got my advent calendars the other day, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Lego Star Wars advent calendar.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And the hang on. And the Lego Marvel advent calendar there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Over there on the pile.
I got two advent calendars. I got one for my mom and one for me, and we've been going through we're going to go through these teas next month. And then I got a couple of more.
You're just teasing.
I am. These are things that are going to be coming up on my channel soon. So I'll probably just be hanging out and talking and drinking these a couple of these different teas that I picked up. This is I got 7 single origin teas here from India and Asia that I haven't cracked open yet. And so I'll be like probably just drinking that and talking about either current events or whatever's trending on Twitter that day.
Right on.
I don't know. I like to talk to atheists and I like to talk about atheism with atheists, but I don't know what kind of content I would make, like just me on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? I don't have enough atheist-based ideas for that to be the core of my channel, I guess.
How about just call it Tea with Atheists? Just have
that'd be fun. That could be cool. Because, like, have you seen my studio yet?
Mm-mm.
I'll send you I'll just take you out. Let's go.
I'm already getting dizzy.
Just a second. Don't get motion sick on me. We're going to go through the dark real quick. See, so that was the smoke room. That's where I smoke and veg and tweet. And then in here...
Doorknob Head, the answer to your question, could you make a Lego piece out of Lego? Yes, you can. There's a guy that makes giant Lego pieces out of Legos.
Yes. I didn't even need to research that.
No, he's got it on YouTube.
I was gonna say, like, my answer was just gonna be, yeah, sure. Of course you can.
guy works for Lego, so he's a Lego creator.
Oh.
And he does like birthday parties with the kids and stuff. So
Nice.
how come you're not fucking using that with me today?
Because when you tweeted me, I was on the phone. And so I didn't want to take any longer because I realized what time it was, and I was like, oh geez, if I go into the studio area, then it's going to take me like a little bit longer, and I'm going to have his people waiting, and I just, I was overthinking it, I guess, and so I just jumped on the phone, and so yeah, this is the studio area. I just tripped.
Trippy.
Those are fine.
Well, maybe you could sit in it for the after party, because we do take a little time between the two shows, so you could probably get everything set up and just run it on
Light panels and my green screen and everything. I'll come to the after party. I'll see if I can get it set up for that. I'm planning on doing my first stream soon.
Cool.
Well, I guess this counts as a stream, sort of. I mean, it does count, but it's not mine, it's yours. So I guess that's slightly different. I don't know. Just happy to have somebody to hang out with today.
Just so you know, Sleek, my friend Fern, they said they love the idea of tea with atheists. So.
Oh, sweet! Thank you, Fern. And I'll probably do that then, because I have quite a bit of different teas.
And I can actually drink tea, so you could have me on one of these days.
Sweet, yeah, and yeah, I have quite a few different loose leaf teas that I've got, and I've got some other stuff that's not tea, but
I said some tight leaf teas.
My neighbor that I was telling you about was actually asking me about that, and we're getting ready to try and see what we can do with that. So I might try that on channel, because where I am, it's legal. There's no reason for me not to.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I can literally walk into a store and just,
I don't know if that would taste very good.
They give it to me in a bag like this. It's like, it's not like it used to be. You know what I mean? It's like I literally walk in and there's like wall to wall, commercial packaging. It's crazy. I mean, I used to have to know a guy and not tell anybody where his house was. And now, you know what I mean? Like, growing up, it was illegal everywhere in America, and it was like you literally had to know some guy that grew it, in his closet or his backyard or whatever, and you couldn't introduce any of your friends to him because you didn't want to know anybody, because that's how you get hemmed up by the police or whatever. So it's like you got to keep your circle tight, so it's like,
yeah.
It was such a hassle. And now it's just like you walk into the store, you're like, yeah, 10 grams of what is that, the yada yada? Yeah, I'll take that. And let me see that pen and one of those medicated drinks. And yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, thanks. Have a good day. It's like such a change in atmosphere from like, hey, is the guy there? Yeah, he's there. Oh, cool. Can I come by and get some stuff? All right, I'll be there in 5. And then, go wait in front of his house by a tree until he calls you and tells you it's in the knot hole. You know what I mean? Like,
it's under the gas tank lid of my car. Just grab it from there. Yeah,
exactly. That kind of thing. Like it's in the flower pot by the, leave the $5 underneath the.
Yeah. It's on the tractor tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've picked up weed in some funny places back in the day.
I'm sure we all have,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that was, that's to me, that's why I think I'm more pro legalization of just whatever, because I'm like, at the very least, it would get rid of all of these transactions in like random ass weird gas stations at odd hours and stuff. You know what I mean?
You're lightening up the courts as well, right?
Right.
Charges and shit.
I mean, I'm personally just more pro treatment than incarceration when it comes to controlled substances anyway, but also, like you said, it would lighten up the courts. It would stop putting people that are non-offenders in, dangerous situations. So it kind of address a safety concern. And like how weed is now, everything's legal and everything is tested by a lab and everything else. So, when you go to buy it, that it's like not, laced with some other garbage or anything else like that. You know what I mean? Like, well, because nowadays they're putting fentanyl in like literally everything.
There's never actually been a recorded case of fentanyl in weed.
Not in weed? Good.
No.
I didn't know that, but I mean, like, everything else, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had a neighbor die of it. Whatever he was on, I don't know, and I don't want to, but he got a hot batch with a little more whatever they put in it than they're supposed to, and within 3 hours he was gone.
Yeah, it's hard. It's harsh. The fentanyl can be mixed in with like cocaine and stuff like that, and
right,
and other drugs.
And I only mess with marijuana. That's it for me. So I'm,
Yep, me too.
But I don't live in the best neighborhood of town, and some of the people that that I see when I walk down to the store and stuff, I go, ooh, yeah, it's rough for them. And like I say, one of the guys that was, local homeless drunk that everybody knew, one day it just wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a few days later, I find out from the people that were letting him squat in their backyard in a tent that he was talking to them. They left. They went out of town to the next town 20 minutes away. And by the time they got back from what they were doing down there 3 hours later, I want to say, I think that's what I said earlier too. Yeah, it was about 3 hours when they got back. He was dead. So he had
sad. All
from catching a bad batch of some kind of narcotic. Like I say, I don't know what he was on, but the word that the rumor was fentanyl, that it was laced with fentanyl, and he died of a fentanyl overdose. And I don't doubt it.
It's a strong drug, and it's easily overdosed. So,
well, one little pinprick worth of it is enough to, doctor up an entire batch of something, and it's incredibly strong.
Yeah. And I'll never fucking do anything like that. So fuck that shit.
Well, I'm 46, dude. I'm anything that I was gonna do, I already did, and I'm not doing anymore. Like I'm now at the age where I know what I like, and I do that. I like drinking tea and coffee, and I like smoking marijuana, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much the same, because I can't drink anymore. So.
Yeah, I can't drink because of the medication that the doctor has me on, so I don't drink alcohol.
Me too. Good old fucking, so my blood doesn't clot right there.
Yep, there you go. Well, I got psych meds for my depression and my anxiety, and they don't jive well with alcohol. So
right.
I quit drinking the alcohol. Now I just drink tea, coffee, and
smoke
occasional Coca-Cola here and there, but mostly just the tea and coffee, and smoke weed. Yeah, weed, or like my little vape pen that is also still weed, just boiled down to a concentrate.
Yeah, like shatter.
Yeah,
for sure. It's good stuff. Well, dude, I think we could probably wrap this and take a bit of a break and then get into an after party if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right. I think we covered. It really didn't take much for you to leave the church, so
it really didn't. And like I said, most of the interesting parts of the story, and I don't even know. I guess I didn't really get into it, but most of the interesting parts were after I started getting into all the cults.
Yeah. Or
because leaving the church. Stuff. Because like I met the 12 tribes in Manitou, and I got to have dinner with them. And so I got to meet like a lot of really cool, I mean, it sounds weird to say it, and I am only fortunate because I didn't end up joining or get sucked into any of their, shenanigans. So I'm like, I got to hang out with a cult, and I'm super happy and excited about it because I'm like, I can tell you what that's like, and I knew what I was doing. When I met them, I knew they were a cult. When I agreed to the dinner, I knew they were a cult. And I knew I wasn't going to join when I went up there to see what everything was about. I went up there to see if I could, get any information. And so, like, when I started going and, like, when I went down to, I want to say it was SoCal and met the Scientologists for the first time and didn't know what Scientology was yet. Things like that. I think those encounters, those stories are probably what I should have told rather than my deconversion story, because I think those are probably slightly more interesting.
I've had ex-Scientologists on the show before, and it's some of the stuff they talk about is utterly just nutty. Absolutely nutty.
Yeah. Well, what's weird to me is when you go into once you've left everything and you're actually an atheist, like myself, like yourself, and you go into, like, I went into a Pentecostal church, the same one I was telling you about with the running and jumping. Another friend invited me to the same building, and I was like, oh, well, it's the same building, but they had changed names. I don't know if they do that up there where you're at, where the church will, the old church will go defunct or whatever. I don't know what happens, but they end up just changing their name from, like, God's house to, like, so-and-so's apartment or whatever, and you're like, oh, it's a different church now. But when you go inside, right, when you go inside and you hear the preacher preaching, he's still preaching the same style, the same fire and brimstone style that the guy that was there before him, when it was the United Pentecostal, and now it's, whatever, Church of the Lamb or some such, whatever the heck it is, you know what I mean? They changed the name, but they didn't change the denomination. For all I know, they just opened a new LLC with a new name. You know what I mean?
Probably. And Mark says it's probably a tax thing. So
that makes sense. And so I went there and I realized quickly how many things they were doing that were cult behavior. Like, they tried to get me baptized, like, in the first 5 minutes of me walking through the door. They had people waving their offering envelope in the air, like, to show that they had given a donation that day. And they were saying, oh, and this isn't to make the people that didn't give a donation feel bad.
You're right.
Exactly. You see where I'm coming from? Like, and being from outside, you're seeing that and you're going, wait, no, that's exactly what that's for. Yeah, that's exactly why you encourage the people that did give to flex and show off that they gave, and so that you rob the other people that didn't give the joy of waving their envelope in the air, so they feel bad about not being able to give, so that next time they will give so that they can wave their envelope in the air. That's exactly what's going on here. You know what I mean? Shaming. And when I start, there are a lot of similarities between the tactics that they use between both organizations, and the only difference is that one believes in Jesus and one believes in some guy named Bob.
Yeah, or something.
Or Jim, whatever, or that there's a comet coming and it's going to take you to outer space, whatever, whichever one, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, Heaven's Gate, holy shit, that was fucking shit.
All kinds of crazy stuff. But anyways, I'll see you at the after party, man. I know you want to get signed off, and
we'll bring this to a close.
Yeah, I'll try to. No, I think I'm just going to do it on my phone because I don't want to go through that right now.
That's fine. You can do whatever you want, really. So.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll come to the after party. Send me a link.
We'll just I will for sure, but just hold on 1 second.
Right,
thanks anyways, Sleek, for joining me today. Thanks for bailing me out of this conflict I had with no guest for tonight. You kind of
no worries. Anytime. Just hit me up.
Also, thanks everyone out there in the chats over on Twitch and YouTube, and for hanging out with us. It's always great having you guys there. Thanks to our patrons and our members. If you want to learn how to become either one of those, well, you can. If you want to become one of those, help support the show. There is links below in the description box. Also, Sleek's YouTube channel and his Twitter handle stuff are all down in the description box as well.
Want to come have tea? Shoot me a tweet or something, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody, you, whoever. Yeah. I know somebody said they would be interested in doing it. If they want to come, follow me on Twitter and let me know, and I'll be happy to have you on.
Yep, all the links are there. So do what you must. And if you're interested in being on the show, my email is in the description box as well. Oh, excuse me.
Thank you, Neil.
Man, I'm dying. I'll try to die quieter. Anyways, that's it, guys. So until next time, like I always say at the end of the interview section of the show, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.